And blessed to be a part of your day. Kevin Miller in the morning here at KIDO Talk Radio. And I think we're going to do something that, well, we don't want the suits to know about. We don't want anybody else to know about. So we'll do it in the 6 o'clock hour. It will be our little special secret. I think we're going to talk. I'm going to talk. Hopefully you're going to talk. Otherwise, it's going to be a very not so compelling half hour here. But I think we're just going to do a half an hour without any commercials. And I know you hear people on, is that okay with you, Rayma? You're okay? Okay, well, I appreciate that. But I won't, believe me, this is my idea. I won't get you in trouble with the suits if they're listening. But I'll tell you this. You hear this all the time, commercial free this, commercial free that. And look, I challenge, with all due respect, because, again, we're respectful here in the Treasure Valley, I challenge any other radio station to do this. We're trying to get as many people over to the righteous, conservative cause as possible. So it may get me into trouble. Look, I was in trouble yesterday. I'll be in trouble again. But, it's for a good cause. So many times, and look, we appreciate the people that support this program, that love this program, that are our partners, our business partners. And we love promoting them, whether it's Dr. Stewart, whether it's My Hearing Centers, whether it's Team Mazda Subaru, whether it's Mattress Firm, and others. And by the way, if you want to support this program, send me an email, and we'll take care of you on that. But I think what we're going to do is we'll just go a half an hour, and we'll talk. Now you have, again, other folks that probably will talk to you for about 2 minutes. And good. Hopefully they have something to say for 2 minutes. But this is a chance where, how many times will I ever say, hey, we're out of time? Well, we're going to make a lot of time for you today. Why? Because we appreciate you. So many times, and I've been kind of gone crazy lately buying a bunch of these business books. And in these business books, they always say, well, what have you done for your people? What have you done for your group? And very often we take people for granted until they're gone. So this is our way of giving back. So 580-5436, 580-KIDO. We're going to talk about things. And look, the biggest topic going on right now is the president and whether or not the president called Haiti and these other El Salvador, quote, S-holes, right? And look, we're a family-friendly show, but he said the entire word, allegedly. Now the president said that he didn't say this. And here's what we're really saying. And we'll get to the media reaction. We'll get to your reaction. Here's what people are saying. It's abhorrent. It's racist. He's unfit. It plays into the narrative that Donald Trump is unfit for office. Never mind that employment is an all-time high. North Korea is getting along with South Korea. We're doing steps to keep the crazy Iranians in order. Right? But Donald Trump's a bad guy. Have you ever heard the White House tapes of Richard Milhouse Nixon? Or of, what's that guy's name, Lyndon Baines Johnson? The racial things? And again, you say things among your boys, you say things among other people that are not politically correct. You look at Donald Sterling. He lost his NBA franchise based on illegal phone conversations. And I think what we're seeing today is the thought police led by elite white liberals. You've got Anderson Cooper last night crying. So we'll get to this. And people are going to say, well, Kevin, the president shouldn't have said that. You're right. The president shouldn't have said it. He said something that if anybody else would have said it, a public person, they most likely would be fired. And a lot of people say the president should be fired. But you know something? Donald Trump is Donald Trump. And as Tucker Carlson said last night, he said something that almost every person agrees with. And we'll get to those comments. But first, I'd love to hear from you at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. And let's start with some of the media's reaction. And again, look, we might go the entire well, we don't want to go the entire hour. We're going to go at least a half an hour nonstop talk. The only show in America that gives you that. And we challenge, everybody else to do that. Why? Because you need more content, right? Let's take a listen at this.
A way to protect those dreamers from deportation. This meeting behind closed doors, in which the president referred to countries like Haiti and countries in Africa as a shithole. Obviously, that is not the kind of language.
And it's so funny. We had to dump that because CNN said the entire word
that you would expect to come out of the president of the United States. And it's obviously going to cause a lot of damage to this immigration debate. This was behind.
So here we are. Why are we having these countries from S-hole country, these people from S-hole countries here? Trump said, according to these people, referring to African countries and Haiti. He suggested that the United States should import people or should let people in from countries like Norway and others. It's amazing. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Now, let's see. We've got the delay ramped up again. Let's hope that Anderson Cooper refrains from saying the actual word. Again, it shows you the character of Jim Acosta and the people at CNN that they would actually use that word. Shame, shame, shame on them. And by the way, is there a tape of it?
Is tired of so many black people coming to this country, tired of immigrants from Haiti and Africa being allowed in. Quote, why are we having all these people from shit?
See, again, we'll have to dump it again. Boy, the delay's getting a workout today with the cable news. I hate this. I feel naked without the sound. Is there one reporter in America that won't use the term? Let's try Rachel Sutherland. By the way, you're listening to Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio.
The president suggested FISA Section 702 was used to snoop on his campaign, but later tweeted support for the program, saying, we need it, get smart. House Leader Nancy Pelosi asked House Speaker Paul Ryan to cancel the vote.
He doesn't even know what the bills are about.
Speaker Ryan said the president knows what FISA Section 702 is.
I can't speak to what the tweet was, but he's aware of it. We've talked about FISA in the past.
White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders says the president fully supports Section 702, but he does have concerns with the FISA program more generally. In Washington, Rachel Sutherland, Fox News.
580-5436, 580-KIDO. So that's Rachel Sutherland. Let's see if we can go to Tucker Carlson from our friends at Fox News, and hopefully Tucker doesn't say the S word, but if he does, we'll dump it again. Thankfully, the delay is back up and going.
Well, good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson tonight. Today, as you doubtless heard during immigration talks, President Trump said something that almost every single person in America actually agrees with. An awful lot of immigrants come to this country from other places that aren't very nice. Those places are dangerous, they're dirty, they're corrupt, and they're poor. And that's the main reason those immigrants are trying to come here, and you would too if you live there. President Trump asked why America doesn't receive more immigrants from places you might want to visit on vacation. Why aren't we getting more people from Norway, he said, which by almost any measure, including the UN's measures, is the most developed and richest country in the world. Well, saying this, Trump used an expletive, and that's not surprising either since he uses them all the time and was speaking privately. And yet, for some reason, virtually everyone in Washington, New York, and L.A. considered this a major, major event. Why is that? To find out, we're joined by Jose Parra. He was Latino Communications Director for Barack Obama's 2012 campaign, and he joins us in the studio. Jose, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for the opportunity, Tom.
So I think it's, of course you can have a debate over what countries we ought to admit immigrants from, and I think we're kind of having that debate. But what bothers me about the explosion this afternoon is the dishonesty in it. And I'll just give you one example. Joan Walsh over on CNN, an analyst over there, was asked just a minute ago, would you rather live in Haiti or Norway? And she said with a straight face, I can't say.
The great Tucker Carlson joining us here on KIDO Talk Radio. Remember, when you hear Fox News on the radio, you're listening to KIDO Talk Radio. Let's go to Cindy in Caldwell. She'll start today. Good morning, Cindy.
Well, good morning, Kevin. I think you're amazing. It's not a surprise that they would come out with that. Don't go to lunch with a bunch of nurses laughing at the term that was used. But I do know, I'll just start there, what our president was saying and meaning and all the other things that go behind that, that we don't have people necessarily anymore that want to assimilate, that there's low skills. I think there should be skill-based coming in. So there's a myriad amount of things. But Donald Trump is a Patton. Donald Trump is a Winston Churchill. I think everybody should run on over and see The Darkest Hour, how Winston Churchill responded continuously to the consternation of actually both parties. He was never doing anything politically correct. But, you're not giving advertisements, but you people, you and Jeremiah, are the advertisement for, people coming on board to the radio station. And I just have to give a shout out to you because yesterday, finishing up 208 Cares, that house, it'll probably be in the papers, will be given to the veteran today. But I have to give him his right rank. The general said, who was in on the project, I just marveled because a servant leader, working on the last 2 weeks, watching this man in the rain, cleaning the windows. He's a retired general, but he knows you. And I just wanted to say, on this beautiful morning, because I say like Portia and the Merchant of Venice, mercy, the quality of mercy is not straight. It's droplets like the rain, like over here in Caldwell. But it's really nice when people have kind words, nice words. And he met y'all. And so that's a good thing. And he had very good words to say about your radio station. And here he is. I've been calling him a colonel, oh dear, in the last few weeks. But that's a good thing. Our veterans will be a veteran will be getting a house because this group literally does that. It cares. And that's the point about your station. Even with differing, polarized views, you care to get people's ideas and their world view out there. So I'm just hoping you all over there have a great day. And, I'm real thankful for a young lady, and a shout out to her because she was just really sweet last night over at talking to her at the Idaho Press Tribune correction place about sad events recently. But you know what? It's nice when people can dialogue on both sides. I really liked talking to her, and that was, that was a good thing. And you should be whether your bosses are up or not, you two came right alongside what this Melissa Davlin was saying in the Idaho Press Tribune. She was used yesterday, and you were giving out the suicide prevention hotline, which is great. And at the end of her little article in her guest commentary, she was doing the same thing. And bottom line, this is what you do, Kevin.
Well, Melissa Davlin, actually, her mom listens to this program.
Oh, well, you know what, Kevin? I can see that, and that's what we got. I was talking.
I don't think Melissa Davlin listens, but who hosts the Idaho thing on public television, but does a really good job. But her mom listens to the program, but.
Well, I really didn't know that, but we got talking even to the correction reporter about mother's response when tragic things happen. But, the good thing was, I don't know her mother, but I do know that you were saying the same thing as Melissa.
Actually, she was saying the same thing as me. Cindy, I've got to get rolling here. We got a ton of people.
Oh, you can go. No. That's just it.
Okay.
You keep reaching out to people, Kevin. You have a great day.
Hugs, not drugs.
Amen.
Thank you, Cindy.
Amen. Bye-bye.
All right. Traffic and weather together at KIDO Talk. There we have it. It's tough when Larry's off. You just keep going, Larry. Okay, Jim, thank you. Let's go to Joe in Meridian with Kevin Miller at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Joe.
Hi, Kevin. How's it going today?
Living the dream, brother. And you, Joe?
God keeps blessing me all the time, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah, hey, I was just calling. I think it's very interesting. I was meeting with some folks the other night. We were talking about just some things in the Bible and how it talks about, not being self-righteous, not acting like you have it all together on the outside and you never make any mistakes, but being honest and real. And, in this particular case with President Trump, he's probably, whether he said the word or not, whether he got angry or not in a moment, you got to look at people's intentions and their heart. And sometimes people make mistakes. And I would like to put it out there to every single reporter who's criticizing President Trump. If you had a 24/7 body camera, would we ever catch you saying something that maybe you shouldn't say? Maybe that might happen. Would you want us to be gracious, or would you want us to be judgmental? This was not said in public. It's something he said, if he did say it, and I don't even know if he did. But the point is you know what? I think the guy shows by his actions that he cares for people, and he cares for a lot of different people, and he's doing a great job. And so if this is all I got, out on the East Coast, I've been to some seminars and stuff. Not everybody, but there are a lot of people out there that swear all the time. You know what I'm talking about. I mean,
yes.
It's like every other word.
Yes.
And, if you took all that seriously and you took all that for face value, they'd be complete jerks, right? But that's how they talk. And so, you know what? Yeah. I'm kind of like, hey, this is just going to blow over. It's another way for them to just try to focus on something stupid. That's my thoughts, Kevin. What are yours?
Well, Joe, having been born and raised east of the Great River, I really can relate to the profanity. And truth be told, sometimes off the air in very select companies, I've been known to embrace in the profanity. So I can relate. And look, it's much ado about nothing. And I got to give it to Tucker Carlson, who pointed it out. If these countries were so great, people wouldn't be trying to leave them. That's really what it comes down to.
There's some truth to that. Yeah.
If these countries, had honest and they weren't full of corruption and all these things, and quite frankly, people have seen people come in since 1965, and we'll break it down for you before 7 o'clock. Ted Kennedy did this. Ted Kennedy promised that instead of with this Immigration Reform Act, and Pat Buchanan drummed it literally into my head back in the early 90s. That's what has radically changed the makeup of America. Instead of bringing people in for national security interest, it became family-centric. And what was it? Ted Kennedy promised that we wouldn't be flooded by immigrants. Foreign-born people in America today are up 82%. And the country is going to be totally different in 2060 because of this. And that's just the legal immigration. Never mind the illegal. It gave preference to people from third world countries. And that's what we're seeing today, and people are tired of it.
Yeah, the other thing I wanted to mention is, if you don't mind, is I really think this whole immigration thing, you can't give people stuff for free. I never believe that's a good policy. I don't think they value it. I don't think it ends up setting a good precedent for other people who had to pay for it and had to earn their way. So however we set up the immigration system, there's got to be a way that you earn it at some point, or those people are going to grow up in our country thinking they're owed. And I'm never a big fan of that because, they're not productive, right? I had to pay my way through college. Right. I had to figure out a way to make it work. And, my parents were missionaries, and so, they worked hard and they didn't make a lot of money. But that's okay. I mean, my point is if you're going to just let people come in without having to qualify and earn it, or people that have already done that, if you're going to give them a free pass because they're already here, what does that tell everybody else? And I just think it's messed up. The other thing I think we forget is, a lot of these parents, I understand they may be in tough spots, but, a lot of them are leaving their kids on the border, and that's just ridiculous. And, why are we going to support that? Why would we want to embrace that or encourage that down the road? And so I think we got some issues there in the immigration process that need to get resolved. And my hope is that Trump will not back down on some of those things.
Joe, thank you for the call. Good to hear from you.
Have a good one.
You too. Joe and Meridian on KIDO Talk Radio. We continue on, and we go to Keith at the bench on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning, Kevin Miller. Yeah, I'm calling in about the immigration. I see it as a problem. I like what Donald Trump says overall. I would have used different words, but I'm not the president. I would have said we need immigrants from developed countries. Undeveloped countries, I'm sorry, they fail to develop. People are fleeing those countries, and they're coming to the U.S. because we are developed. So the big problem, though, is when my great-grandparents immigrated here around the year 1900, there was no welfare. And they came here, and they were the most frugal, American, flag-waving people you've ever seen. And they never received welfare of any type. Now, all these immigrants are coming in here apparently for the welfare. And then it gets a little worse, according to me. Here's what I would do. All these people, they're usually liberal Democrats, but whatever. if they want to flood us with refugees that are going to be on welfare, I got a better idea. If they think these countries are so great, like these African countries, North Africa or Haiti, how about we put a fund together and we ship these people that want refugees here to turn our country into Haiti? How about we ship those people running the refugee resettlement centers? How about we ship those people over to Haiti? And they can be where they want to be, and we can have the America we want to have. How about that?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. So, and again, amazing point. When I left for the Air Force in 1984, at the age of 17, my grandfather told me, who was the second-generation American, he said, son, this is the best country on the earth. You get out there and you protect it. And, boy, you know, what great advice. And, again, that man never received welfare of any type.
Keith, thank you for the call.
Oh, have a good day, Kevin. Take care.
You too. Appreciate it. Kevin Miller in the morning. We continue on a commercial-free half hour of talk as we take your calls about the issues that matter to you and talking about the President of the United States, basically stating the obvious. People are going to go, well, it's horrible. Well, his language was unacceptable. But look, Donald Trump did not get elected because he was the Queen's whatever, the Queen's rule of politics. But you have people in other countries saying he's a racist and everything else. Okay, so be it. But if those countries are so good, why are people trying to get out of them? Other people say this.
South Africa's ruling party calling the comments, quote, extremely offensive.
Ours is not a shithole country, neither is Haiti or any other country in distress.
Senior party official Jesse Duarte saying the U.S.
I'm glad they bleeped that out at least, which is more than we can say for CNN.
has its own problems, but we wouldn't make comments as derogatory as these. The African Union, which represents 55 countries, saying the statement flies in the face of all accepted behaviour. And a spokesman for the UN's Human Rights Office says the remark is racist. In London, Simon Owen, Fox News.
And Kevin Miller here at KIDO Talk Radio. More of your calls coming in a minute, but going back to a guy, no wonder why he's, I love this, Jim Acosta, the president may be a racist. I see. Philip Mudd, I'm a proud S-holder, says Don Lemon, as seen as the N-word. They've lost their mind. They've overreacted once again, haven't they? Let's go back to Tucker Carlson's comments, then more of your phone calls here.
Well, good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight. Today, as you doubtless heard during immigration talks, President Trump said something that almost every single person in America actually agrees with. An awful lot of immigrants come to this country from other places that aren't very nice. Those places are dangerous, they're dirty, they're corrupt, and they're poor. And that's the main reason those immigrants are trying to come here, and you would too if you lived there. President Trump asked why America doesn't receive more immigrants from places you might want to visit on vacation. Why aren't we getting more people from Norway, he said, which by almost any measure, including the UN's measures, is the most developed and richest country in the world. Well, saying this, Trump used an expletive, and that's not surprising either since he uses them all the time and was speaking privately. And yet, for some reason, virtually everyone in Washington, New York, and L.A. considered this a major, major event. Why is that? To find out, we're joined by Jose Parra. He was Latino Communications Director for Barack Obama's 2012 campaign, and he joins us in the studio. Jose, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for the opportunity to talk.
So I think of course you can have a debate over what countries we ought to admit immigrants from, and I think we're kind of having that debate. But what bothers me about the explosion this afternoon is the dishonesty in it. And I'll just give you one example. Joan Walsh over on CNN, an analyst over there, was asked just a minute ago, would you rather live in Haiti or Norway? And she said with a straight face, I can't say. Flying. If we've gotten to the point where we all have to pretend that every country is exactly as nice as every other country, then we're being dishonest.
There we have it. Then we're being dishonest. Kevin Miller in the morning here. More of your reaction next on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Maggie.
Good morning.
And Kevin Miller in the morning. Coming up, we'll hear from Hank, Terry, Liberal Steve, and Pete from Mountain Home. First, we're going to go live to London. We're going to talk to Simon Owen, get, their reaction to the president. And, of course, the president canceling his trip to London because of the embassy deal. People are saying because the The Brits don't want him there. I don't believe that, but we'll talk to Simon Owen. Then nonstop phone calls concerning the president and his comments and people condemning them. And you go back to what Tucker Carlson said. Most people agree with the president. They wouldn't say those words and wouldn't use it derogatorily as he did. And people are saying, well, it's racist and everything else. Well, we'll see about that. But people are attacking him again and again, trying to use anything to get Donald Trump out of office. Now, again, Donald Trump, like a lot of brilliant and talented people that we've all known for years and years and years, is not helping himself with these comments. But we see and hear the reaction. Here's the latest from Africa on it.
Here in Africa, analysts are at the very least disappointed that on one of the first occasions in his presidency he's mentioned Africa, Donald Trump has chosen to lash out at it. The African Union says it's, quote, frankly alarmed, and goes on to say in a statement, given the historical reality of how many Africans arrived in the United States as slaves, this statement flies in the face of all accepted behavior and practice. South Africa's ruling ANC party's Deputy Secretary General, Jesse Duarte, has blasted the comments as extremely offensive. Duarte told reporters that millions of Americans are unemployed, but still Africans would not deign to make comments as derogatory as Trump's. In Johannesburg, Paul Tilsley, Fox News.
And let's go to London. Simon Owen joining us now. Simon, good morning.
Hey, Kevin, morning.
Well, what's the reaction of what the president said or didn't say over there?
Well, I mean, closer to where I am here in London, we've been asking reporters have been asking the French government about this, and the spokesman for the government in Paris said that silence is the best response. He said that it's obviously not advisable to speak the way President Trump reportedly spoke, and we must keep a correct language, especially when we talk about countries that sometimes suffered from bad weather, a great poverty, and that are in great distress. So I suspect this is generally the way it's going to go. The Europeans will generally stay out of this, but some African countries are being pretty forthright in their response. We just got a statement through from the government of Botswana, and it said that these remarks are reprehensible and racist. It says it's summoned the U.S. ambassador to express its displeasure, and in an official government statement, it says the government of Botswana is also contacting the U.S. government for clarification as to whether Botswana counts as an insert expletive here.
Amazing. What about the reaction of the president deciding he's not going to go to London? What's going on over there on that one, Simon?
Yeah, and I mean, this is something that has been a big story in papers here in Britain for months, pretty much since President Trump came to office. His first visitor, foreign head of government, was Theresa May, the British Prime Minister, back nearly a year ago now, and she made the unusual move of issuing an invitation to make a state visit to London. I say unusual simply because normally you do this further into a US president's term, and a state visit to London means red carpets, dinner with the Queen, stay at Buckingham Palace, the whole shebang. And normally it's something that US presidents are offered as a honour after a few years. Well, with Brexit, Britain's departure from the European Union looming, Britain is short on friends, and Theresa May, I think, thought that this was a way to stay on the new president's good side, and so the invitation was issued, and we're told it was accepted. Since then, it's all gone a bit quiet, and nothing's been put in the diary. We went through all of 2017 with no visit scheduled and no visit taking place. Then there were reports that the president, the state visit seems to have been kicked into the long grass, but still Britain's a very close ally, so maybe he'd make what they call an official visit, more business oriented, and you come for political talks. And on this occasion, the US has a brand new very expensive embassy that's just started work here in the last few days. And all the rumours were that President Trump was set to come to London in the next few weeks, probably before the end of February, we think, maybe even this month. And now he has said that he's not going to go. And this explanation came in a late-night tweet, and it said that he essentially blamed President Obama for it. He said that he doesn't like the deal that was done to build the new embassy. He said it's in an off location. It is moving across town. It's not as central, the new embassy site. But to be honest, he blamed President Obama for this, but it was President Bush who secured that new site. So to an extent, he is complaining about the wrong president there. And he said that because he doesn't like the new site of the new embassy, he has declined the opportunity and has cancelled the visit to, in his words, cut the ribbon. Now, this has left diplomats here explaining why they chose this site, and they say there were security reasons, and after 9/11, U.S. embassies have to be much more secure than they were before, and it wasn't possible to do that in the middle of where they were originally. And so they're sort of defending themselves against President Trump's accusations here against his own diplomats. But it has also been reported here that President Trump simply was too concerned about anti-Trump protests, which were expected, and I do think they will happen if he ever comes to Britain. He will face protests. He is deeply unpopular in the UK. So it's a confusing situation where the official reason is it's all about he doesn't like the real estate deal, but there are suggestions that actually it's more to do with the fact he didn't want to face the protesters.
Simon, we appreciate it. You have a great weekend.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you. 580-5436. 580-KIDO. Let's go to Terry from State College, formerly of State College, Pennsylvania. Thanks for your patience on KIDO Talk Radio.
Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning, Terry.
Well, I think if we looked hard enough and long enough, we could pull up all sorts of speeches given out by a certain party, and it would go like this. Give me your disease. Give me your drug-infested. Give me your rapists. Give me your gays. Give me your demon-possessed radical religious people. Give me your homosexuals. Doesn't that sound like Hillary, Bernie, the whole left? Come on. Really? You have to admire the truth. Sure, he may not be a man of elegance, and he may not deliver it in such a way that's palatable for the whole world to hear. And the guy from South Africa, who remember how many people came over here as slaves. And if our black population over here so desires, they know that they can be extremely successful, much more so than South Africa. The universities are available. Jobs, there's so much available to them, they just have to want it and go after it, just like any other race. So I think everybody's barking up the wrong tree. And I think all he did was bring forward, hey, this is what the other countries do for their citizens. That's really what it boils down to, isn't it?
Terry, we appreciate your calls. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. You have a good day.
You too. Our great friend Terry from State College, Pennsylvania. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Let's go to Hank in Boise with Kevin Miller at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning.
Good morning. The Democrat policy is twofold. One, you bring in people who have low skills that are dependent on welfare, so therefore they vote for the party that provides the benefits. And two, to keep the vote in line, you play identity politics where you pit every one of their faults on the whites. You're unemployed because of bigoted whites. You lack opportunity because you keep them dependent. You keep them, and you gin up the hatred. You play the card, the division, and this way you keep the votes up. You keep it all voting for the Democrat Party and. Same thing in Texas. I mean, the wall is a threat to their plan. If they can flood Texas and take Texas out, Texas become another California. I mean, that was Reagan's biggest mistake was to bring this Smith-Mazzoli because, in a sense, it pulled California, which was a reliably Republican state, into a solidly Democrat state. That was Reagan's biggest mistake because within 10 years that's happened when the floodgates were opened there, and. This is the handwriting on the wall. The reason why the parties of the left in Europe are entrenched is because of these immigration policies. And this is what the Democrats hope to achieve. That's why they're fully compassionate about DACA. It comes right down to it. They'll give up DACA to avoid building that wall. And the other thing that I'm going to point out to is that there's a phoniness about the whole issue. In private, even to reporters, Lyndon Johnson and Harry Truman, for that matter, use the N-word all the time. And not only that, but Mr. Johnson quite referred to other minorities such as Italians, Hispanics, and all the other stuff in private conversation. The reporters knew that. I mean, the fact of the matter is there's one standard. And I'll have to say this too, in the politics of this. The Democrats, for all their crassness, at least fight to win. They fight to win. They're not interested in compromise or getting along across, like McCain. Where our side doesn't have a clue that politics is about winning. It amazes me how wimpy our side is, and they come up with this compromise bill that but no funding for the wall. In other words, they gave in to the Democrats because they don't want to take risks. They don't want to be having the mainstream media coming down and plastering them with the race thing. In other words, when you operate from your fears, you're almost certain to lose in politics. This is a battle. This isn't. I mean, politics is another form of warfare. It's full warfare. And the Republican Party, or at least our leadership side of it, has no clue what the reality of politics really is all about. It's not power and it's not control.
Hank, thank you for the call.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Coming up next, Liberal Steve, Pete, and Pat, one line open. Kevin Miller in the morning. We're talking about the president and what he said last night. He says he didn't say it, and the liberal media going crazy. I'd like to hear what you have to think and whether or not you agree with what Tucker Carlson said. Tucker Carlson basically said, look, this is what people believe, and if these countries were so great, why are people trying to leave them? And then we go back to immigration and everything else. Do we have another clip from Tucker here? Let's take a listen.
Let's get back to it. So
Norway, Haiti,
one is the richest country in the world. The other is one of the poorest countries in the world. You think it's immoral to point that out? It's a statement of values. I'm asking you a very simple question. If Haiti isn't such a bad place, why don't we say to the people who are here temporarily in refuge from Haiti, go back, it's great. We don't say that because it's not great. Actually, it's everything the president said it was. It's not an attack on Haitians. It's an acknowledgement.
More from Tucker Carlson next. You're listening to Kevin Miller on your home for Fox News, KIDO Talk Radio. Guess so. We don't have any. I see. We're back. It's a little challenging today. Another commercial-free half hour, if you will. And the computer just froze on us, so we won't have any more Tucker, but we do have you. Let's go back to the calls and go to Liberal Steve at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Liberal Steve.
TGIF, huh, Kevin?
What a way to start the day.
Yeah, what a way to start the day. President's an old man. I mean, come on, he's 70. He's going to make a slip up here and there. And yeah, the first word he used was definitely inappropriate, even if it was caught off the cuff. But, Norway and those developed countries that work 37 hours a week and give their employees long vacations and are one of the best countries in the world are socialist. Imagine that. Yeah, the time I spent in Norway for 6 months, it was kind of a bummer. Came back to the United States. It was nice to get back to the West, though. The East was horrible, angry, full of anxiety, opioid epidemics. Which hole was he talking about? The East? Because the West is much better, this side of the Mississippi. But, it'll get bounced around for a week, and The View and Ellen and all them will chatter about it. But, hey, it is what it is. But
you really need to you need to call in when you're awake.
Hey, I'm awake. I have a bad cold.
This is a bad call.
Really bad. Thanks, Kevin. You just make me so sad when I say that.
Bad call. By the way, the president just saying, never said anything derogatory about Haitians other than Haiti is obviously a very poor and troubled country. Never said take them out, made up by Democrats. I have a wonderful relationship with Haitians. Probably should record future meetings. Unfortunately, no trust. That is from the President of the United States. We'll try to get more audio for you if the computer unfreezes, but we won't harp on the shortcomings here. We'll just continue on taking your phone calls on this. Again, another commercial-free half hour on KIDO Talk Radio. Let's go to Pete in Mountain Home at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Pete.
Good morning. I have some data from a DK Books Compact World Atlas. They have a little bit in the back there where they list facts about each country in the world. And one of the things that they post is the literacy rate. And it seems to me if you're bringing in people, they should be at least an asset to America. And you look at literacy rates in, Norway 99%, Poland 99%, Latvia 99%, Russia 99%, Slovakia 99%, Haiti 67%, Liberia 59%, Mali 23%, Niger 30%, Zambia 71%, Nigeria 61%, Somalia 24%. Now, if you're going to bring somebody into this country that you want to be an asset to this country, the odds are a lot better if they can read. And I'm going to have to agree, inartful words, but those countries that he's talking about it's like Tucker Carlson said, it's not someplace you want to go on vacation.
Really, and it's very simple at 580-5436-580-KIDO. If you had a choice to go on vacation, would you go to Haiti or would you go to Norway?
Exactly. And if you're going to bring people in, refugees into this country, do you want people who will be an asset to the economy or people who will go on welfare? And I guess if you're a Democrat, you want people who will go on welfare.
Well, no, it goes back to the 65 Immigration Reform Act by Ted Kennedy. We see that all the time. That was based on families as opposed to national interest, and we've seen that again and again and again. And, we'll have the details breaking it down for you coming up next hour. But, we're flooded. 82% of the people foreign-born, it's up 82%. You can't say that was the vision of the Founding Fathers back in the day.
Well, and, we brought people into this country. We had large immigration pulses in the 1800s and some of the early 1900s, but they weren't people who were coming here to go on welfare. They were people who were coming in here to find freedom and to find a job.
Right. And to make a difference.
And they weren't coming here for the goodies. But yeah, I think it's interesting. You look at the literacy rate in Africa, and I think Mr. Trump's description of that continent as a whole was probably not too far off.
Pete, thank you very much. We appreciate your call and listening to KIDO Talk Radio.
Thank you.
All right, we continue on. Let's go to Pat in Boise with Kevin Miller at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Pat.
Pat is here. I just want to say, Kevin, you have the biggest heart on radio.
Thank you.
I worked in Silicon Valley when Clinton came in and gave all our jobs away. With NAFTA, manufacturing moved out. Manufacturing coming back is the harbinger for economic growth. So we're bringing it back. That's action. When we didn't have jobs, kids went to college, they went to school. They got these loans. Guess what? They can't pay. They can't get out of that debt. Banks and everybody else is being bailed out. Who do they talk about? Dreamers. Right? Trump is the only one saying, this is about making America great again. I don't hear a whole lot about our kids, about American kids, American values. Since Clinton and Obama, who when he was running for office, he went to a church that lambasted America. One of the first things he did was apologize for America. He didn't keep his promises, and he won the Nobel Peace Prize. Your friend Bonzell this morning said he knew what he was doing when he started DACA. And he did. He's very divisive. He always was. And now Trump comes in and cleans it up, is trying to make America great again. And the only thing they can pinpoint on him is language, which I'm not even sure he said this. He's a man of action. America is getting great again. And as a matter of fact, I recall the Clintons going to Haiti and working with them on the Clinton Foundation. I don't understand what happened there, but it wasn't good. Other than that, I just want our country to be great again and our kids for the future to have a chance. That's all.
Really, and that's what the president's talking about, and that's what they're so up in arms against, because he's the biggest threat to their re-engineering America.
Well, yeah, if you go back, I saw a video on the internet from 1945, and I believe it was from John Birch. I'm not sure, but he outlined 10 points of how America was going to be taken over. And it was everything that the Democrats had done. And then there was another prophecy in 1970, and that came to pass. That scared the heck out of me. You know, and the only thing they can get on Trump is his language.
I would agree. I would agree with you, Pat.
And if you judge a person, it says in the Bible, you shall know them by what they do, not by what they say. So he's a great president. He's the second most greatest president we ever had, the first being George Washington. And I would like our kids to have a future. We do have to kind of, you know, you can help people, but at some point you have to help yourself. You have to put the oxygen mask on yourself. Take a deep breath. These immigrants coming in are not all that they used to be. They all were coming here because they wanted to work. They wanted to assimilate. Some of these we know have killed us, and they're going to kill us. And they've said they're going to kill us. Now, I'm not saying all of them. I don't know if the president said this. I'd be surprised if he did. But when does he get privacy, and why does everything get broadcast through the entire world? And we just need to make America great again and
Pat,
unite.
Great point.
That's
Thank you.
all.